In previous video, we discussed CSS pseudo classes, and now let's delve into another interesting feature called pseudo elements. These are handy CSS tools that are definitely worth exploring and learning about. CSS pseudo element is a useful tool for styling specific parts of an element in a web page. It allows us to apply unique styles to elements such as the first letter or line, and even insert content before or after the existing content of an element. This functionality enhances the visual presentation and customization options available when designing web pages with CSS. When using pseudo elements, it's as if you are adding a new HTML element to the markup instead of applying a class to existing elements. Pseudo elements are denoted by double colon, and an example of pseudo element is before pseudo element. Now let's start by using first letter pseudo element. The first letter pseudo element allows us to apply unique styles to the first letter of a text, and it can be useful for adding emphasis or decorative effect to make the initial letter stand out from the rest of the content. Now here I am going to show you how we can use this first letter pseudo element in practice. As you can see in our website, here is the heading, which is CSS pseudo elements. Now if I want to select the first letter of this heading, I just need to select this H1 heading by using H1, and then I will use the first letter pseudo element, which I can use by first selecting the element, which is H1, and then using double colon, and after that I just need to write the name of pseudo element, which is in our case first letter, like this. And now the first letter of this H1 heading is now selected, and now we can add any styles that we want to apply. Like if we want to change the size of our first letter, we can simply use the font size property, and now I am changing its font size to 4M. And now as you can see, after saving this, now the first letter of this heading element have the size of 4M. Now we can also change its color by simply using our color property, and now we can use any color that we like. And this is how we can use our pseudo elements to style different part of our HTML elements. Now next up, I want to show you another pseudo element, which is the first line pseudo element. And this is a useful tool for applying unique styles to the first line of a text. With this we can add special formatting or design element especially to the initial line, allowing it to stand out from the rest of the content. Now to show you this concept in practice, I just created these two paragraph elements. Now let's suppose we want to style the first line from both of these paragraphs. Now how we can achieve this? We can achieve this by using simply the first line pseudo element, which will select the first line from both of these paragraphs, and then we can apply styles that we like. First of all, we need to enter the name of the element, and which is the paragraph element. After this, we just need to use double colon and then the name of pseudo element, which is first line, like this. And in here we can use any style that we want to apply. And for this example, I am just changing the color, and now I am using this coral color. Now after specifying the color, I am just saving the file, so we can see these styles are successfully applied to the first line of our paragraph element. Now both of these lines are now in coral color. We can also change the size by using font size property. Now here I want to specify its value to 2rem, and as you can see, the first line of both of these paragraphs now have the font size of 2rem. And this is how we can select the first line of any text using this first line pseudo element. Now after this we have the most used pseudo elements, and these are after and before. Now the before pseudo element allows us to add content before the main content of an element. It can be useful for adding decorative elements or icons. On the other hand, the after pseudo element allow you to insert content after the main content of an element. This can be handy for adding additional information or visual elements. Both pseudo elements give you more flexibility in styling and structuring your web page's content. And in order to show you practically, I just need to create an h2 element, and after that I will add after and before element to this h2 element. Now if we want to add some content before this h2 element, we can use before pseudo element. To use this, first we want to select that element, which in our case is this h2. So just write h2, then double colon, and then we have this before pseudo element. And here the first thing that we need to use is the content property, and we can set this to empty, or we can add any content that we want to add before this text. Like if we want to add any emoji, we can simply use emojis and we can add that emoji in this content. And after saving this file, you can see this emoji is now added before this heading. And by using this pseudo element, we don't need to create a new element into our HTML file. And as you can see, this before element is created before this h2 element. We can see this by just inspecting this element, and here you can see we have our before pseudo element, which is before this text of h2 heading. And similarly, if we want to add something at the end of this h2 element, we just need to use after pseudo element like h2, and here the name of pseudo element, which is after. And just like before, we need to use the content property, and then we can add anything that we want to add after this text. Like we can add another emoji like this, and after saving, you can see we have two emojis that we added right here, and these are at the end of this heading. And in our console, you can see we have this before element and this after pseudo element. And this is how we can use these before and after pseudo element in our website. Now I just show you the most used pseudo element in this video, but there are more pseudo elements that you can learn by visiting MDN website, and you can search for MDN pseudo element references like this. And here you can see we have bunch of pseudo elements like this after, backdrop, before, q region, first letter, first line, and there are a lot of these elements. So you can definitely visit MDN website, and then from here you can learn about these by just simply visiting this website. And there you have it. CSS pseudo elements are like your web design secret weapon. Experiment with these and keep practicing. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to join this exciting web development journey with us. And if you have any questions or suggestions, you can put those in the comment section below. Until next time, keep coding and keep creating. I will see you in the next video.